Hi, everyone. Welcome to another session where we have very important resource persons who would share their sort of experiences on how they've been able to grow and develop their careers within international firms. And the focus for today, or the theme for today, is the ICT space. Um, Yes, so we have three interesting resource people today who will share their stories and hopefully we can all learn from them. So my name is Toby and we will start off with Hope Ayabina giving us a quick 2 seconds introduction of herself and her organization and what it stands for. Over to you, Hope.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is HEDDA's Beautiful Hands Limited. The session we're having today is Insights. We mentor, you decide. This particular program was put aside just for people who are having struggles with knowing the path, how to grow their career. And because I've been in the diplomatic international space for a while, I just felt, okay, I could get people who are working in those sectors to share their experiences and help those coming or those who have grown but want to move careers or their career path. Well, I believe that this has been helpful since we started in November last year. And each month we have new themes. So we have this every first Saturday of the month, and it's with a different theme. And well, it's been helpful, and people have asked that we continue. And that's why we keep running this program. And let's just see how far we go. So next month anyways, at the end of the program, you'll know that what we're having next month. Enjoy your time and learn a lot. Thank you.
Thanks, Hope. So like we said, the session is focused on ICT, and I'll be moving over to our first resource person. So not myself. I look terrible in that picture, but that's fine. We'll go over to the first facilitator, Mr. Pompey. If you could please just tell us about your sort of trajectory, your journey to this point. I could see that you're a telecommunications engineer in faraway Canada. So you look like a big man. Just let us know how you've gotten to your position.
No, I'm not a big man. Um, good morning, everyone, uh, and good afternoon for my fellow Nigerian people. My name is Pompey Edegongon Isizobo. I come from Edo State. I'm Ishan by tribe. I'm married to Elizabeth, and we have three beautiful kids, two girls and one boy. My wife is from Jos. She's Birom by tribe. Uh, I I love basketball. I love music. Uh, those are some few things about myself. For my career, I started off right after school, 2000 and 2003. Yeah, 2003 during my NYSC. So I just somehow had a thing for the internet. I just kind of like the internet boom was there, right? So that was fresh in our minds and something I really liked. And I was like, how can I get into this space? On my own, I started doing personal researches. Uh, I read uh, I read a book, Cybex, CCNA, Cisco. I never knew where it was. I just saw the book. I photocopied it, and I started reading. I remember I was there in Aba, and I just started reading the book. I remember there's this guy that owns an ISP in Aba. The guy was like, so I was reading the book one day. The guy was like, "Oh boy, you know anything to read?" I said, "Well, seriously, I really don't know, but I think I am enjoying it." Yeah, so curiosity is very key characteristic in anybody's career. So yeah, that curiosity drove me into the whole networking space, IT space. Then 2005, and then I'm glad Chinedu is here. Chinedu also helped me to get into uh, that world as well, right? Especially that, the way it was, as a 2005, voice was very big deal. right? So, and Chinedu happened to be in that world then. So, and I was in the data world, which wasn't a big deal as of 2005, unlike now. So, right. So I 2000 and 2005, 2007, I found myself in MTN, right? And was because of my certification, Cisco, not necessarily because of my degree, really. Was because of what I knew as regards to networking. 2007, I found myself in MTN. I was in MTN for 11 years before I left. I left there as I was a switch engineer. You know, there's one thing about this one thing again. It's a different mentality that a lot of Nigerians need to understand, especially we that we are in the IT world. You know, there's the hands-on part and there's the academic part. Academic is good, but you know, there's a mentality I always had, and which was, what value can I really add? And I'm not a very everybody. I'm not very strategic, you know, person. I'm a more very practical person, right? You know, I had to teach myself strategy by doing PMP, project management professional exam, because I don't have that mindset, right? But I'm very practical. I'm like, what value can I add? What can I do for you, right? Like a mechanic, what can I do for you? Like electrician, what can I do for you, right? So I have that mentality. So as a switch engineer, which is I think is a wrong title I had in Nigeria, I should be called a switch technician, really, because I was more of doing operations and maintenance. I'm not designing anything, you know. You're not, you know. So I mean, why are you called an engineer, right? But anyway, that's Nigeria, right? So migrating to Canada, I got my job right from Nigeria in a big telecommunications firm here in Canada. So in Canada here we have four major players. We have Bell. I'm sure everybody knows Bell. We have Telos, we have Rogers, and we have Shaw. Shaw bought a company called Freedom Mobile. So they interviewed me when I was in Nigeria. I was just sitting like this in my office and I was interviewed. And the manager really liked me and he was like, hey, you know, he wants to give me the job. Fortunately for me, I got my permanent residence then. This was 2017. So I was like, okay, hey, you know what? I'll show up December. I just resigned from work, right? 2017. I just left my family, you know. So coming to Canada, I got a job. I was a subject matter expert, core network, mobile core, just like an MTN kind of role, right? So being there and everything, trying to understand, you know, the culture, trying to understand technology, which is actually similar, just different terms. Like for instance, E1, we use E1 in Nigeria, in Europe, but here in North America, the United States, they use T1. E1 has 31 channels, the T1 has 24 channels, you know, stuff like that, right? So those are things I just needed to understand. And within 6 months, by the grace of God, I got a permanent role in a bigger telecommunications firm called Telos. But you know, the funny part, these are all technical roles. So I got a job there as a core network support, technical support, right? More like a network technician, right? And that's where I've been. I got a senior role, you know, it's a union job, you know. So, well, this has been my path. I'm trying to even try to use my academics, my degree, to try to get into the whole technology world. Like, let me give you an example. My first job, nobody asked me for my degree. My second job, nobody asked me for my degree. Everything has been on my experience and what I know. Interesting, eh? And so right now, I'm trying to dive into a more design kind of role, and then you require some form of academic. So academic has its role to play. It depends on how you want to get into that world. But it's always best to know what you're doing. Sometimes you can get a degree, depend on the degree, and then you come in and you go into a more design kind of role where you are actually, you know, adding value in that, you know, area, you know. And so it's more of a architectural kind of role, right? But for me, I came from the grass. Sorry, go ahead.
30 more seconds, Pompey.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I came from a different angle. and it's a wonderful experience. I love technology. I'm passionate about technology. It's something I enjoy. But I'm getting older. I've been there for 15 years, so I'm trying to add value from a more
Manager.
yeah, that's what you guys would call it, managerial, but I would call it more of architectural perspective, right? Design kind of perspective. When in managerial, you're not talking about something different. That's something administrative, which is okay, but I still like one still in that technical role. So that's been my story. Very boring. Thank you.
It was far from boring. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's fine. So I'll go over to Asipita Iroko, who's a solutions architect in the UK. If you could please tell us about yourself and your journey as well. Try and make it more interesting than Pompey's own was.
I will certainly do my very best. And by that, I'll check that you can all hear me. I can tell by the smiles that's a yes. So a bit of a background. My journey into technology and engineering at the time seemed as though it was by accident. I was one of those children that from the age of 4, I thought and I believed that I was going to be a doctor, a medical doctor. And I had that belief right up until, I guess, SS2, when I met my biology teacher. And she set me off with a completely different trajectory. It wasn't a pleasant experience at the time, but hey, I got into engineering, and actually even getting into engineering, because I went to ABU, was almost sort of another accident again. So, you do the old jam back in the days, and it's sort of like fingers crossed, you wait and hope. If you're lucky, the chances that you get your first choice or your second or even your third were slim. And at the time, I was offered, I think it was chemistry, something to study chemistry. And I remember my mother, God bless our parents, doing the runaround and going, what? No, wow, why? And she was fortunate enough to meet somebody who took a look at my results. I was fortunate that I did really well academically. And the individual thought, no way, this lady can't go into chemistry. Let's find something better for her. And something better ended up being electrical engineering. So when I say it was almost by accident, that's what I mean. So I studied electrical engineering. And of course, by the time you've done a degree for 5 years, the way the thinking is, well, you're on that path, right? You go down that path. I remember in my 3rd year thinking and having the conversation with my parents that I wanted to quit and go and start to study medicine. And I think my mother almost had a mini heart attack. And you'll hear the statement, a bird in hand is what two in the bush. She went, finish your degree first now, and then you can think about it later. All those years now, I'm still in technology, and it has been a really fruitful career. So I was fortunate that after my first degree and after NYSC, I came here to study and did a master's degree in telecommunications. But I like what Pompey said about, it's not necessarily your degree that determines anything. And I think you will find this theme common in a lot of industries with a lot of people that you talk with. There is so much, let me call it talk, about the degree that you get. And like Pompey said, it is important. And I'll tell you why it's important. Somebody said to become a good actor, you must learn the script first. When you've learned the script, then you can modify it, you can tweak it and make it your own and put your personality on it. And I think that that's what education does for you. Education gives you the script, it gives you the template, it gives you the baseline that then allows you to be creative, to use your mind, your imagination, and to plan and to, to draw on all the different things that you've learned and you've experienced to decide where you want to go. So I was fortunate, I came here, did another degree, and right after that degree, guess where I ended up working? In a call center, a taxi call center, working from 10 p.m. at night till, I think 7 a.m. in the morning it was. And I won't tell you the name of the company, but you pick up the phone and you're going, may I take your booking, please? And then you do the number of passengers. And this was me with a first degree from the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University, with a master's degree from University College London. At the time, it was one of the top 3 universities in the UK, and I was working in a call center. Now, at that point in time, that doesn't sound like a success story by anybody's standards. But like I say, your education gives you a template, right? It gives you a template that allows you to creatively do things. And it was whilst I was studying for my degree and working in the call center, a friend that I'd met at university in London said to me, "Why don't you go and do a Cisco certification?" And I thought, I have a degree, for goodness sake. What is a Cisco certification going to do for me? And I didn't do anything for a year. And then he whispered in my ear again, "Why don't you just do a Cisco certification?" So I said, all right, I'll go and do one. And so whilst working at night, and of course, the income that you get in a call center is not great. And if you live in London, it's an expensive city to live in. I'd work in the call centers at night, and I will tutor secondary school students during the day. So I'll teach them maths, teach them physics, and I got paid by the side. Whilst doing that, I started studying for my CCNA. So in between calls or lunch breaks, I'll have my CCNA book right on my desk. And I studied this thing and managed to scrape the money for the exam, wrote the exam the first time, and I failed it. And I remember coming back home on a bus in the morning, and the song that kept ringing in my head, I can't remember the author now, was, the popular song that says, if at first you don't succeed, lift yourself up and try again, try again, try again. Anyway, I did it the second time and I passed. And as they say, the rest is history. I've had over a 10-year career in that particular space, in telecommunications and networking. And it has been a really fruitful career. But it wasn't fruitful just because of my education or my background. I've been fortunate to have had opportunities, but I really like to think that those opportunities were opportunities that I was prepared for, because life is constantly giving us opportunities. Whether or not we see them is a different issue, but life is constantly giving you opportunities. What you've got to do is prepare yourself so that when the opportunities come, you can take advantage of them. And on that note, I will pause, and maybe when we get to the questions, if you want to know any more particular things, I'll give a bit more detail. But thank you.
Thank you very much. That was really good. I think quite a few of us share that story. I think once you go through formal education, it gives you something as well. It makes you feel entitled. You think you've arrived, but you've actually not arrived. So I think that was very, very interesting. Thank you for that. So I'll go over to our final resource person who has quite a few fans following him on LinkedIn. So over to you, Chinedu. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, we can.
Great. So Chinedu Ahmad is my name. I work at General Electric, and I manage the industrial digital business for GE, looking after West and Central Africa, covering the power generation industry. So basically what we do in that space is we provide analytical solutions, artificial intelligence, machine learning solutions that monitor the performance of industrial equipment that are geared towards generating power, trying to predict, determine the state of those machines, the health of the machines, and try to anticipate problems before the problems actually happen. Because when those machines go down, apart from what they cost to bring back up, these are machines that power, homes and industry. And if you can limit how, the amount of unplanned incidents that occur, then you would actually be saving a lot of money and keeping the society, lighted. So what I do is, I'm actually in sales now. So I look after this business for GE for West and Central Africa. But my career, started a long way from that. My career actually started in telecommunications, but I'll go all the way back to, school. I attended Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, just like a lot of the people we have on this call. We're actually friends all the way from school. And I studied physics. So Pompey, that you see here, was a classmate of mine in school. And I'll tell you a little bit of a story. Physics is, as a subject to study, is my best subject throughout secondary school. You know, I remember at 12, I went to the library, I picked up a physics textbook, and I couldn't have enough of it, and I kept studying physics and so on. But I never wanted to study physics as a course in university. I wanted to be an engineer because, the thinking then was you study physics, you end up being a teacher, and as a teacher, you will not have a decent standard of living. So I wanted to be an engineer. After secondary school, you had to choose 2 universities to attend. I finished secondary school in Benin. I didn't want to go to UNIBEN. It would have just been an extension of my secondary school. I wanted to be the adventurous type. I wanted something different. So I chose 2 schools, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria was my first choice. The reason is because I was actually born in Zaria. I didn't have the chance to grow up in that town, so I wanted to know a little bit more about it. My mom was a student there when I was born, and I was taken away almost immediately so she could focus on her studies. So I chose ABU Zaria as my first choice. But admissions came, and I was offered admission at UNN first. This was like maybe around August. And I could accept it, but the school I really wanted to attend was ABU. So I decided to take a gamble, and I didn't accept that admission. And then ABU, I was holding out for ABU, and then the ABU admission came, and I was informed by my uncle who had sent someone to check, oh, you've been offered admission to the program that you wanted, which was electrical engineering. And I was excited. I packed my bags and I went I traveled all the way to Zaria. I hadn't been in Zaria since I was a baby. And when I got there, I went straight to the Department of Electrical Engineering. I was like, I've come to pick up my letter. And they were like, really, what's your name? And I give them my name, and then they checked. My name wasn't there. Like, are you sure? Who told you? That's my uncle sent someone, and he checked, and he said, I've been offered admission in this department. Said, really? Okay, you should go to the faculty and go check there. And I went to the faculty, and then they checked their lists. I wasn't there. Then they checked all the engineering departments, and I wasn't there. And this time, you can imagine the sweat. I had just traveled all the way to Zaria, thinking, I was going to study electrical engineering. And then they said, you know what, go all the way out to the main gate. You see a master list of all the people admitted, and find your name. And I was shaking at this point. I went to the board and I started looking. This time I just wanted to see my name anywhere. I didn't care where it was. And, and I started checking. Eventually I found my name, and I was excited. After being excited that I found my name, then I looked at the department, and it was physics. Okay, well, I found my name, and I was just happy that I found my name. And everybody was like, oh, don't worry, after 100 level, you would change and everything. And physics, which actually is my best subject, and I had like 2 A's in